Hello everyone, welcome back. We have another string review and playtest. Today we are talking about Technifibre, Ice Code, front of the package, back of the package, and I also do still have this in a racket. It has been in this racket for, I'd say, approximately 2 to 3 months. I want to kind of try to do a close-up if I can. As you can see, there's no notching, there's no movement in the strings, and that's really, I think, the number one positive about this string is the fact that it does possess an above average longevity, well above average of most polyester strings. I'm gonna leave it in that racket till it breaks, and after 2 to 3 months of having it in there, granted I don't play at my highest level that often, so I've probably only put maybe like an hour to an hour and a half of my hardest hitting on that racket. It has held up. I feel very confident pulling it out of my bag and knowing what to expect. So for most players, especially if you're in that 4.0 to 5.0 range, you're looking for a polyester with maybe a little more power than what you might have on, say, an RPM Blast, one of those type of strings. This string is going to be for you, and for you, it might be a must try. For me, I don't think it is because I don't particularly like the response off the string bed. It's a little bit stiff. It's a little bit too muted for my liking. There's not that crisp sort of pop that I really like that you find with something like a Luxilon Alu Power. That being said, if you like the more muted, stiffer feels, you need a little bit more power and you want a string that's going to last you a long time and play consistently, this is the one, I think, for you. And I think that's why it's getting such high praise and high marks across the internet, is that it does suit a target demographic. It does suit a target demographic, and that's where you might want to read my review because I go into that a little bit more. $12 a set. Is that high? Maybe by like a little bit, but considering how long you can play with it, I think that it makes up for it. And I would actually call this a value for money string. I know Technifibre strings are often a bit more expensive, but if you can get a few more hours, if you can get a couple more weeks out of that string job, then it ends up being worth it. It makes sense to pay the few extra dollars for a higher quality string, and you end up saving money in the long run when you factor in your stringing costs. The one complaint I have, and again, this might just be for my game, is that I found when I sliced on my backhand and I really felt like I hit it perfectly, those balls had a tendency to fly long by, 6 inches to a foot. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just I'm used to different strings. That would be one thing I noticed with the string that's very specific. Okay, backhand slices for me, when I was like on the move or even just trying to play an aggressive slice, it had a tendency to go longer than I expected. The other area where I think the string is too powerful is like, let's say there's a situation, you're playing a point from the baseline, somebody kind of hits a drop shot or like a mid-court shot, you have to rush up and like shuffle the ball back. Again, just kind of like a feel shot. You're not really going for power, you're just trying to stay in the point. Again, those balls floated a lot longer for me than a lot of other polyester strings. And I also didn't really like the response off the string bed. Way too stiff for me, might be too stiff for you. But again, I think the major takeaway with this string is that if you're in the 4.0 to 5.0 sort of range of player, you're currently using a polyester that's like control based. Again, something that's there for a lot of spin generation, a string where you can really swing hard and the ball stays in, and you're looking for just that little bit more power. Again, on the back here, they write the most powerful poly, 6% more powerful. 6% is not a large number, right? 6% is actually really, really small. You might even say inconsequential to a lot of players, but this is the point, I think, of this string, is it's supposed to sit somewhere in the middle, somewhere in between the really stiff polys and the polys that are like super powerful and soft. This is not soft. This is stiff yet powerful. And again, I think if you're in that 4.0 to 5.0 range and you're looking for just a touch more power, but still with that really kind of stiff, muted feel, you're going to like this one a lot. And again, it has that added benefit of lasting a lot longer. That's where I was most impressed with this string. Does it do anything exceptional? In my opinion, no. There's nothing exceptional about this string. There's nothing that makes me go, oh my God, you have to go out and try this. That's me personally. For you, you might find that this is the perfect balance, that this is exactly what you're looking for. Players over a 5.0 are going to say this string is too powerful. And for me, what I would say about this string is it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to me, to my game, in my racket. That might change and vary based off of your game and based on your racket. But for me, high quality string certainly deserves the praise that it's getting, but I do think it's designed for a target demographic, and that target demographic is often what you see with playtesters on the web, with the Tennis Warehouse playtesters. They fit perfectly. I've watched them do a lot of reviews. I've watched them hit the ball. This string makes a lot of sense for them. It may make sense for you, it may not. If you're below that 4.0 range, if you take a modern cut at the ball, you might like this one, but I think for most players who are below, the feel of it just isn't going to be suitable. You'd probably want to stick with some kind of a hybrid setup. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Ice Code. Read the review if you want more information on it. At some point, I'm planning to go back and try all the Technifibre polys. Been a long time since I've used them. I used to use Red Code. I really enjoyed that string. It's been so long though, I can't really give you a fair and balanced review on it, but I've seen that they've been putting out some new stuff as well. Expensive stuff, but I would love to get my hands on all those polys and come back and bring you guys a review. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave those down in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back with a string review very shortly. Take care.